Hello guys, very good evening. Welcome back. You may be watching this for first time, but it is my third recording due to some video corrupted, something happened because actually from so many days I have not recorded any video in my computer screen. That's why the settings were not appropriate, but I think this time it should work fine. Okay, so let's get started. Today is our React Native session day 1. But before starting our actual React Native, who are the target audience? Let's discuss that first. This course is thoughtfully designed for beginners and mid-level engineers who are ready to level up their careers. If you are new to React Native and fully commit to the learning journey, practice consistently and apply the concepts. You can confidently aim for a salary package between 3 to 7 LPA based on your dedication and skill mastery. Remember, success depends on your effort. Follow the course sincerely, and doors of opportunity will open. Without real effort, frustration can happen, but if you stay committed, growth will surely follow. If you have already 2+ years of experience in front end development and feel underpaid, means earning less than maybe 5 or 7 LPA, then this course can empower you to break through and target the 7 to 10 LPA range by sharpening your skills to meet industry expectations. Throughout the course, we will focus on building real world production grade applications, preparing you not just to clear interviews, but to thrive in your job and build a lasting career. This is not just a course, it is a stepping stone towards your next big opportunity. But every opportunity comes with specific requirements. The number one requirement is your dedication and hard work, and second requirement is system. Definitely, you need a specific system if you want to learn a specific thing. Now, React Native is a framework which we use to create cross-platform applications. Means we will create Android apps, iOS apps, web apps. Okay. So all four we can create using React Native: Android, iOS, web, and desktop. In desktop app, we can create Mac and Windows apps. But here we will focus only on Android and iOS. Here is a catch. Using Windows or Linux system, you can create Android and web apps, but you cannot create iOS, whether that is desktop or mobile. So, if you want to be a perfect React Native developer, then you should have a Mac OS. But as a fresher, it is fine if you have only Windows computer. Still, I will explain you certain workarounds that you can implement. But if you can arrange Mac OS, that would be better. Similarly, processors and all these requirements, you can search in the official website as well. And definitely, you need internet, and now in India, everyone has, right? Now, let's get started. Since today is our day 1, we would not jump directly into installation or heavy setup tasks. You will get bored, right? Instead, I recommend that we should first go through the official React Native documentation and complete the installation. Okay, it will take time, so you do it on your own pace. And within that time, we will learn the React Native concepts as well using an online tool that is called Snack. So this snack.expo.dev. This we will use to learn the concepts in our first 4 to 5 sessions. Within that time, you try to install React Native on your computer based on your system. If you have a Android Windows computer, you can follow that one. If you have a macOS, then you can follow that one. Go to this get started here. Then click on this one. Can I use React Native without a framework? Then come here and click set up your environment. Okay. Then here, choose your specific device what you have. Suppose you have macOS. Then click on macOS and then Android and follow these steps to install. After completion of this, click on iOS and follow the steps for iOS. If you have Windows, click on Android and follow the steps. And as I said earlier, iOS you can't. You can create Expo apps. Okay, that we will discuss later, but it has limitations. Similarly for Linux, click on Android, follow this process, and iOS you can't. Okay. Now, let's first understand what is React Native. As we discussed, React Native is an open source framework developed by Meta, which you know as Facebook, which allow us to create cross-platform applications using JavaScript. So JavaScript is the programming language. Using JavaScript, we will create applications for Android, iOS, and web. All three. Okay, as well as our desktop applications also. So it means you should have a basic understanding of JavaScript. If you don't worry. As I said earlier at the beginning, need your hard work. So whatever we discuss here, go through deeper of only those concepts. At the beginning, you need to know what is variable, what is var, let, and const, how to write a JavaScript function. These things you need to know. Okay, a very basic understanding of JavaScript. That's it. Otherwise, you can follow our JavaScript course as well. Till now, it may not be updated, but gradually I will update that as well. You can follow any online document that available. So many excellent documents are there, like MDN. Okay, you will figure out that, right? We no need to discuss that. Now, in this course, we will focus only on Android and iOS development mostly, and sometimes web, but we will never focus on desktop applications. Now, why should you learn React Native? There are other cross-platform applications as well, right? So why you should focus on React Native? Because it has high demand in the industry. If you compare the developers from other tech stack with the same level of experience, definitely React Native developers are getting a higher package. Then next, you are writing code in JavaScript, but you can run it in web, iOS, and Android. So let's see here. You can click on launch to launch your Android phone. Based on the traffic, it will take time. Now there is no traffic, that's why it launched quickly. Otherwise, it may show you to wait in a queue, maybe a 10, 8, 9, okay, something like this, it will display. Okay, so you can see here 100, and similarly when we click on iOS and click here, we can launch our iOS app. Or you can do it with your own physical device as well. Install Expo Go on your physical device if you have Android, and okay, just wait here. Yes, okay, now you can see iOS as well. So click on here my device and scan this QR code with the Expo Go app if you have Android phone. If you have iOS phone, iPhone, then install Expo Go, but you have to scan this with your camera. So open your camera up and scan this QR code. Then it will show you to click a title at the bottom that open in Expo Go. Click on that. It will redirect you to Expo Go app. Okay, this is the process of running this in your physical device. I will suggest you go through this process by scanning it and opening it in your physical device. That is better. That is appropriate, and most of you should follow that, because you will get the exact idea how it will look in your physical device. So what we understood, we can create Android, iOS and web apps using a same code base. But before these type of platforms, before these type of frameworks, we have to write it separately. For web, we are writing it separately. For Android, we are writing it separately through maybe Java or Kotlin. Okay, for iOS, we can use C, Swift. Okay, but now only one JavaScript language is sufficient to write your code and run it in any application: Android, iOS, and web. Okay, now let's create a simple counter app as you are seeing in the screen. Why a counter app? Always remember, before diving into any complex concepts, it is important to understand that your program should be simple one, your example should be simple. Then gradually, when you understand the concepts, you can go for complex examples. So that's why we are creating a simple example and trying to understand how React Native works. Okay. So in our counter app, if you see here, we have used view, text, and button, and all are imported from React Native. Okay, view, text, button, and another thing that is called style sheet. Now we will discuss here one by one. What are these? So this view, text, button, these are components that we are seeing on the screen, right? So in web, Android, and iOS, everywhere we can see this. Under the hood, React Native converts these things to the platform specific thing. Means if you were using Java to write this type of program, then for this view, you may be using Android.view, and in iOS, you may be using UI view, and in web development, if you are a front-end developer or have done any front-end development, definitely you may have, right? In HTML, you are using div tag. But here, we used only view. Okay, so think it as a div. If you have the HTML knowledge. It is a outer wrapper, a container. Okay. Within Vue, we have a text component which will display this text counter. And here we have another view where we are seeing all the buttons. Okay, 3 different buttons: increase, decrease, and reset. So first, let us discuss about the styling. So if you have done any front-end task, then you may know that we are using CSS for styling. But here we don't have any CSS. Here we are using this StyleSheet API to create our style. How we are creating? StyleSheet.create. Okay, let me explain it here. Okay, so StyleSheet.create. Then we will create an object here, a simple JavaScript object. Okay, within that we have different keys and again an object as a value. Then this key we will use for styling, like here style equals styles.container. So styles, okay, that we created through StyleSheet.create.container. Okay, styles.container. Similarly here styles.counterText, styles.buttonContainer. Okay, now let me rewrite this so that you can understand it clearly. Okay, constant styles equals StyleSheet.create, and I will comment these things for now. Okay, so we have constant styles equals StyleSheet.create, an empty object. So now all these are undefined, right? That's why we don't have any styling. Let's write our container style at the beginning. So container, then column, then another object. Okay, in this object you can write all the properties. So I'm assuming that you have CSS knowledge. Okay, if you don't, we will discuss it later. For now, just follow whatever I am writing. Okay, all these things, just justify content, align items, these things we will discuss later on in detail. And if you know, then that's fine. Okay, so now we have the styling for our container, and you can see that these all are now in center because this justify center and align item center due to these things. Okay, but we don't have any other styling for text or anything else. Got it? In this way we are writing styles. So let me remove this one and uncomment the actual styling. And why we are doing like this? To save our time. Okay, gradually in our upcoming sessions I will try to write it live while coding. Let me know in the comment section which format you prefer better. Okay, whether directly like this to save our time, because you can pause and write it, right? If I write it here live, then it will take too much of time. Okay, then we have 3 buttons. Okay, so sorry, we were discussing about StyleSheet, right? Let's continue with that one. So here, okay, maybe my screen capture again stopped. Let me see. No, it is working fine. Okay, so if we discuss about this StyleSheet, you can see the main difference is the syntax. Here these styles are JavaScript objects, but the CSS in our web are simple text, and we are writing that in kebab case. Means in web you may be writing it like this: justify hyphen content. Okay, in web you are writing like this, but in our React Native we are writing in camel case format. Camel case means the first letter is small case in lowercase, but the other words first letters are in capital letter. So you can see here justify content, two different words, right? So first word is as it is, but second word's first letter is capitalized. Okay, this is called camel casing. If you don't understand any certain things, you can take the help of AI. So many AIs are available nowadays: ChatGPT, DeepSeek. Okay, or you can write in comment. I will try to explain it, or you can join our Telegram group, and there you can ask the question. Okay, so let me show you how you will join the Telegram group. You can click here, upcoming cohort, click on here, click here to join, then it will take you to this Telegram group. Okay, go to this group and then you type your questions or suggestions or feedbacks, whatever you have. Okay, that you think will help making this course better, then you can write there. Okay, so we have camel casing in our React Native styling, but in web we don't have. And units, if you look at here, font size is 32, there are no units. Margin bottom 20, there are no units, right? But in case of React, when you are writing in web, you will be writing in pixels or EM. Okay, now as I told you earlier, this specific course will prepare you based on, means basically we are trying to enhance your skills, right? Enhance your skills based on the industry standard. So while discussing the concepts, we will discussing the interview questions as well. So this can be an interview question regarding style sheet. How is style sheet different from CSS? Or interviewer can ask, what is how you use CSS in React Native? Okay, it can be anything. And I have curated all the React Native interview questions and machine coding questions. Okay, and structured notes you can get it from here. That's fine. That you can get for only this much for now. Later on, it may change from time to time. But as a subscriber, if you want, you just share the screenshots of the subscribing and in this Telegram group that I said, and I will provide you a coupon where you can get it for 50% off. And here we have all these questions with the proper answers. Okay, and those answers you will get from here as well, but the issue is here you have to look at the complete video. If you are specifically preparing for interview, then it will be helpful because every question is here and you can see it directly without going through all the things. Okay, but that's fine if you don't go for that, because everything we are covering here as well. Okay, so don't worry for that. But if you want to support me, then you can go for that. Okay, definitely there's everything costs, right? The time of someone, the space, the hosting, the domain, where we are posting all these things, right? Gradually, when we go over the course, you will understand the importance, how things work, and how much time, effort, and resource it takes. Okay. Okay, let's continue. Now, here the key points. In React Native, styles are JavaScript objects, okay, not CSS strings. But again, the interviewer can come with a follow-up question. Can we write simple JavaScript object instead of stylesheet.create? Okay, because we said here that these are simple JavaScript objects, right? So we will discuss that in a separate session, specifically for React Native styling. Okay, don't worry for that now. For now, you just remember that these are JavaScript objects that we are creating through stylesheet.create, and we use camel case instead of kebab case. No need to specify any unit. Okay, all the numbers that we mention are in DPs, density independent pixels. Okay, so based on the density of your device, it automatically sets that. Okay, and here style don't inherit automatically. And another thing I forgot to mention here, now I will edit these notes after this session. We have flex property by default, and that flex is as row. So display flex we don't have to mention, as you see here. I have written flex 1, but display flex I have not written, and flex direction is by default column. But in case of your web apps, flex direction is by default row. Okay, that's the difference. Okay, now let's come to the course again and observe our next point, the state. So those who are from React background, they know what is state and why it is useful. But those who don't know, let's discuss that. State is a special kind of variable. But what is the difference? How it is different from a variable? It controls the component behavior. So if your state changes, then your component will re-render. But if you use a normal variable instead of a state, then your component will not re-render automatically. Means here when you click increase, your variable will increase definitely, but it will not display on your UI. On your UI, it displays only when your component re-renders. Okay, let's test that. So if we use a normal variable here, let count equal 0, okay, and try to console log our count. So console.log count, and you can click here on the left side to see your logs, and set count we can't use. So let me copy it and paste it again because we need this later on, so no need to remove it completely. And here I will write count plus 1. Okay, so you can write count equal count plus 1, or you can write the shorthand operator count plus equal 1. Okay, now if I click on increase, count plus equal 1. So here this is our count, right? We are increasing it. Definitely it will increase, right? But we are not able to see that. Let us create a function here, inc count, and call that function here and count equal count plus 1, and here we will console log within function. Okay, let's save it as counter. Now if you click here increase, we have to increase buttons. Why one we should here? Okay. So if we click here, this increase, then you can see within function 1, 2, 3, it is increasing, right? Let us delete everything. Click on increase. It is increasing. Okay. But it is not displaying in our UI. Why? Because we can see the updated UI only when our UI re-renders. But in this case, it is not re-rendering, means it is not repainting the screen. Okay. But if we use state instead of a normal variable, let me comment this one, and here instead of these two, let me write set count plus 1. Okay, and now click on increase. So you can see, okay, let me clear everything. Click on here. So you can see here. Okay, and okay, let me show this one as well. And I will keep it after this. Okay, now if I click on increase, so within function its value is 0, but it is displaying 1. Within function its value is 1, then displaying 2. Even if we are displaying it after our set, but still its value is not updating, right? Now it is a peculiar behavior again, right? So we will discuss that. But now what we understood, that if we are creating a state, then we can update our UI. Okay, that we understood. And we will remove this to create a single button. So increase, decrease, and reset. Now we have, that's fine. Then we have this inc count function to increase our counter. This is also fine. Okay, but now we will discuss the behavior of state. So how we are creating the state? Let's go from the beginning. We use this use state. Use state is a hook from React library. You can see here. Okay, all the hooks, use state, use effect, everything from React we can use here. The same hooks, the same logic, everything same. Only the UI components we will use from React Native. Got it? Now, what the use state hook do normally? It gives us two different things. Number one, a state, and number two, a function to update the state. This function name can be anything. Okay, just for the sake of simplicity and to know that yes, this function is updating the state, we named it as set count, but we can name it anything. Let me name it x. So if you are naming x, then you can write here x of count plus 1. So it will update that. Okay, let's see here. It is working fine, right? So this name can be anything. Okay, it is not compulsory to name it as set count, but it is a standard process, a best practice to give it a proper naming format instead of writing randomly anything. That's why we are writing set count. Okay. Now, why this updated state we are not getting here? Because use state is processing the state in a batch. All the states will updated at a time and will update the state when it renders. After rendering, it will update the state. So when it renders, then we will get the updated state. That's why we are getting the updated state here after rendering. And as this console log is within the function, so it is not getting that. Okay. Now let's do it little bit more complicated to understand the our state little bit more. So what do you think now? We have three state updates, right? So when we click on increase, it should update directly from 0 to 3. Will it? No, it will not update directly to 3. Why? Because as I told you, it is doing the state updation in a batch, not individually. Okay, this is an asynchronous operation that it will do later on, but in a batch. All the states will be updated in a batch. Okay. Now let's see. If I click on increase, still it's increasing only once. Let's go deeper and understand this. Okay, this is an interviewer question. Most of the time, interviewer will ask this. Okay, and you will get this question as well within that package that I discussed. Okay, now let's understand it. So here our value of count is 0, right? So it will keep this for a later time to update in a batch. At that time it will update as 0 plus 1. So the new value of count is 1. Fine. Then it came to the next updation. Here, what is the value of count? 0. Okay, because while it kept for batching at that time, still the value of count was 0. It is not 1 at that time. Okay, so again it will do 0 plus 1. Okay, and same for this one as well. So even if after 3 times updation, still the value of count is 1. Okay, now suppose you want to increase it 3 times. Suppose there is a scenario. Okay, how you will do? Definitely you have to access the previous value and then add 1 to it, right? In this way. So instead of accessing the state again, you have to access the previous value of state. That you can do in this way. Okay, so previous hyphen previous plus 1 means when the state updates, it will fetch the previous value, not this count value, not the state, the previous value. So at this stage, the previous value is 0. 0 plus 1 equal 1. Similarly, let's put it here as well. And in the third as well. Okay. Now, if you click on increase, it will increase to 3, then 6. Okay. So what you understood? This set state function, it can accept a value or it can accept a callback function. This one, it is a function, right? Arrow function. But the previous one was a value. So if you are passing a simple value, then it will update with that value. Or if you are passing a callback function, then it will update with the result of that function. Got it? I think now you have an idea about the state updation, how it updates in a batch. So we will not see the results immediately. We will see it after next render. All the states will be batched and updated on next render. Okay. So instead of updating directly with a value, we should update with a callback. It is a better approach. Here it is a simple program. That's why all the 3 lines are one after another. But in a real world program, this may be a 100 lines statement and you may have updated with different things at different levels. Maybe at line number 10 you updated state once and line number 50 you updated another time, right? So you may have updated in different lines and you definitely need those things. So if you don't use callback, then it will behave in a different way and you will surprise why the state is not updating. Okay, so it is best to always use callbacks. And again, this previous, I wrote here previous to follow the best practices, but it is not compulsory. You can write it anything. Okay, suppose I write here x and x plus 1, then also it will work. Okay, there is no issue. Okay, but you should write. It does not, you can write, but it does not mean that you should write that. You should only do what industry is following. Okay, what are the best practices that you should follow. So instead of writing x plus 1, you should always write previous, because we are getting the previous value and then previous plus 1. Okay. Again, I am telling you, if you have any questions, any confusions, any doubt or any feedback, then you can go to that Telegram group that I said in this TechCraft course. Go to this Telegram group, join here and ask your questions, whatever you have. Okay, or any feedback how this course can be better. So we will work on that. Okay, now I think you got a clear idea about stat. So here in this documentation, you can read it clearly. What is the perfect way to use a stat and update a stat, what you should follow, what you should not follow, everything mentioned here in a perfect way with examples, so that beginners can also understand this. Okay, now let's do a quick thing. Here we are discussing component everywhere, right? And stat is, if we update stat, then the component re-renders. Okay, so what actually component means? This is a component. Okay, we will discuss more about component architecture later on, but for now, here this counter up, it is a component, right? So if we have, let us say, this counter we will write within our component. Okay, let me create another one, snack.expo.dev. Okay, a new app, and this component I will write separately. Okay, and in my app I will import that. So import counter app from, that is in my root, so from /counter app. Okay, and I will remove all these things and use that. Okay, so I can see the counter up here, right? Now let us say I use it 2 times. So what happened? Now I have 2 counter apps. Okay, if I click here, it increases the counter value, but the second component's counter value is still as it is, because even if the state name is same, okay, and same counter app we have imported twice, but this state is different from component to component. Okay, here this counter app we use 2 times. So this is our first counter and this is our second counter. In first counter, if we increase, its value updates, but in second counter, its value still is 0. Okay, if we increase or decrease, it will update based on that. So the value of state is within that component and it will render specific that component. Okay, so here in the notes you can see all those things. The state is dynamic, means it lets your app respond to the user actions. State changes causes re-rendering. So whenever any state updates, if you are adding something, if you are deleting something from the state, then it will re-render your component so that that state can be displayed on the UI with the updated value. And state is isolated per component. Each component manages its own private state. Even if the same component you are using twice or thrice, but each has its own state. Okay, changing one state will not reflect in another one. Okay, so I think we should stop our session here. So many things we covered today, and if you are a completely fresher, don't know anything about React or JavaScript, then it will take too much of time for you to cover everything, right? And next session, I will try that it will come by next Saturday, as I have only this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, to record for you these sessions. Okay, that's why next session you may see on either on Saturday or Sunday. The next will come, and this website's content is not fully covered, but I have updated this fundamental completely. Then I will start updating this TypeScript. Okay, and in TypeScript we will learn about JavaScript as well, then TypeScript. So I think I should add another one, JavaScript. Okay, so many of you have suggested also to add a JavaScript before this, so I will update that as well. Okay, JavaScript, but actually I was planning to update that in front-end development, but let's update another one. Okay, JavaScript. So there you can read, and whatever we are following in this, I will update only those portions first, so that you can go with the course. And still you can get those things by searching in Google or using any online tool, but at least as I told you, you follow all the concepts whatever we discussed. Okay, it will definitely take a week to cover everything and be perfect on these things, so that in next session when we talk something else, you should be acquainted with all these things. Okay, that's it. My aim is to make you a perfect React Native developer as per industry standards, so you can crack your dream job. But your dedication and hard work is highly required. Otherwise, I can't do anything. If you like the session, then share with others who really need it, and write a LinkedIn post that you are learning it in you are learning React Native. It will help you in two different ways. Number one, it will promote the course definitely, and number two, when you are learning something in public, the actual interviewers, the the hiring people, they are looking at you what you are doing. So in these sessions we will discuss certain things what you can share with people, okay, to showcase yourself. Because see, if you want to crack a job, that is completely different. It is not only how you learn things, what you know, but it is also about how you are presenting yourself in the world. Okay, so that we will discuss time to time, what you should share, how you should share. Okay, but at least for now, you share that you have started learning React Native through TechCraft course. Okay, that will help others as well who don't know about this to learn from it. Thank you, everyone. Good night. Keep learning, keep growing. Bye bye.